Hey everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns. This show offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Larosiere, and joining me is my beautiful co-host, Shawn Herrin. Shawn, how are you?
I'm good, man. No one's ever called me beautiful before. You know how to charm a guy.
Well, stick around.
I knew I was going to enjoy this show.
Well, there you go.
How's the weather in Florida today?
Hot.
Oh man. Yeah, it's cold as hell here in Colorado. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Before we do anything else, I want to play some sound effects.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh, what is that? Oh Jesus.
Get it away.
So that
No.
It's terrible. Everyone's panicking. What is the panic over?
ATF wrote a letter.
Oh, not another one.
Yeah. And it's about,
that hunk of plastic, man. Such a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Plastic and rubber.
You just gotta make sure.
That's a pretty trendy bracelet, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll keep it on. But
I love it.
yeah, but yeah. So ATF, it's not exactly a letter. This was leaked, and my favorite part about this is all of the the top gun tubers, top gun celebrities were talking about how I am in possession. Thanks to cooperation from the Department of Justice, everybody had it. It was it got spread out everywhere within an hour in a pre-filing copy of ATF's notice of proposed rulemakings on my bracelet here. And people were freaking out. They were losing their stuff. And of course, what the first headlines we saw were, and what my favorite part about this is? When I got this, I was like, oh, awesome. I've got an advanced copy. So I can go on Fudbusters and get in front of this and prevent people from freaking out. And then I get home and it's like, nope.
It's like if I could write that. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody had it. And because I thought I was cool for a minute, but no, everybody had it and everybody was freaking out. They're banning braces. They've declared them stocks, and we're all going to jail. All right. Of course.
I expected to be in jail when I woke up this morning, and I wasn't, so I was shocked.
Well, but you think that every morning.
Yes, absolutely, without question.
That's a mixture of your hobbies and your nervousness, but no. So I'm just gonna say this straight up. I have lots of friends that are in the ATF, but I don't think they'd call me a friend, right?
Yeah.
I am not a simp for the feds. Let me get that out of the way. But what this actually was is not as bad as what everybody is saying.
Well, what's everybody saying? I saw the gun, not Illuminati. The gun Illuminati last night, just freaking out. Like everyone's mad, recording videos in their cars, pissed off, looking at the cameras. I just assumed that, I don't know, a meteor was going to hit the earth.
I was trying to not be so open about who we were talking about, but I think everybody knows who we were talking about now.
Oh, no, it wasn't one person. It was
okay.
People.
All right, but yeah, no, the top gun tubers, they were saying, and those are the words that they were saying. They've declared braces stocks, and your brace is going to be an NFA firearm, but and they're talking about how they're creating this thing where you can go back and register your pistol or whatever. But look, that's not what it says. Okay. So what it says is that basically boiled down this, really long wordy document with at least from my understanding, right? I can't read their minds. If I could, I would, be buying stuff ahead of these types of panics, but yeah, I'd be a very rich man, but I'm not. So so how do I what it's saying is, hey guys, we're gonna, we've been reviewing pistols that you submit to us, or, firearms you submit to us that have these braces attached. And, the only way the ATF can review these is as a complete firearm. They don't have the jurisdiction to talk about just a accessory, just an unregulated accessory, unless they decide to lie and say it's a machine gun conversion kit, but that's a different matter. But so yeah, they're saying these are the factors that we have been looking at for all this time, basically, in making those determinations and deciding when we see one of these, is it a big pistol or a short rifle or shotgun, whatever. But we all know that everybody's super concerned about their, their Banshees, their fixes, their pistols, their AR pistols. So so they said, here's the list of factors, and they're not dispositive. And they're also, some of them are pretty rational. Some of them are pretty infuriating. And so there was stuff like, what's the caliber? What is the total length of it? When you actually do have it hooked up as a brace, does it, can you use the sights? So there's like 10 or 12 of these things. And then also, which the one that really annoyed me, which was, we're also going to kind of look at the marketing and how people are using them.
Yes.
Which is not dispositive though, and they said that like 3 times. And they also referred to the letter, the secondary utility of pistol braces, and they accepted, at least it seemed to me, they were accepting as a secondary utility, incidentally shouldering it. So yeah, basically the way I look at this, which again is worth, that and a quarter will get you a gumball at your local, quarter machine. But the way I look at this is they're getting out in front and saying, hey, everybody's freaked out about this. We keep, reviewing guns on a case-by-case basis because that's all we can do. That's all we have jurisdiction to do, which I applaud them for not stepping out of their lane any more than they already have. This is how we're going to be looking at them. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of 2 ways that I'm thinking about why they did this now.
Okay.
One of them might be that a friendly ATF, if that ever existed, is jumping out in front of this train to try to soften the blow, because if you're taking these actions and you're making a proposed rule, and this rule is how we're going to be assessing these firearms moving forward, it'll be hard for another administration that might be less friendly to go and mess that up, right? This is kind of a formalization of the current state of affairs. That's one way of looking at it. Second way of looking at it is, look, we know it's no secret they do not like this stuff. It may be them trying to, through, news and panic inducement, just get rid of the stuff and make companies not want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 main theories that I have in my brain anyway, from looking at the document.
So, okay, that is very interesting and a much more level-headed, I might say, analysis of this. So I've got a couple of questions. So
yes, I am extremely level-headed and very composed, as you can see.
So here's the thing: you do have a fancy bracelet, if I may. Does this mean basically the way the things run right now is someone will get an approval letter for a specific brace and they have to send in a firearm and maybe multiples to the tech branch?
No. So in the very beginning, they were talking to the brace, right? They were saying, oh yeah, this is good. And then they very quickly were like, oops, no, we can't do that. We can't look at just the brace. And I think that's true. They have to look at a completed firearm to determine whether the firearm whether it falls under the NFA or what part of the GCA it falls under. Is it an ordinary Title I handgun or is it something else? Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing that they don't get to say, that's a stock. I'm holding a rubber mallet. They don't get to do that. That's not it's not in their jurisdiction. They get to look at firearms and think of what they are. And don't get me wrong, I think this is all unconstitutional garbage. Yeah. But I think you have to decide what's the point you're making? Mm-hmm. Is the point you're making, no, these are properly construed as pistols, right? But just don't mess with our pistols. That's fine. You can make that point. But if that's the argument in your hill you want to die on, you do have to accept that they're going to say, okay, well, we're going to look for things that are not pistol-y, such as an 11-inch barrel, or when you actually secure the brace to your wrist, you can't use the sight, or it's, you have a bipod on it. It's like completely unusable as a pistol. If that's the way you're looking at it, you have to tolerate that. Or are you looking at it the other way, which is, hey, the Supreme Court has said I have a fundamental constitutional right to handguns, which are the most concealable firearm you can get. The NFA tried to regulate SBRs and SBSs because they were trying to regulate handguns, and they didn't want people to get around the handgun ban by just cutting down a rifle. So if I have a fundamentally right to the most concealable handgun, why don't I have the right to the second most concealable weapon? Because that's what, and they say this in the letter. They say the NFA targets firearms that are most likely to be used in crimes. Well, yeah, when it was first written and it wrote handguns.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's relevant now at all.
I don't either. And I kind of just don't understand where this goes. Like now, if caliber takes into account, if a company was to send in like a 9mm and a 5.56 of the exact same thing with the exact same measurements and everything else like that, both being pistols and braces and all that good stuff, like then maybe one gets approved, but the other one does not. And then how do I as an individual move forward where, maybe I want a 458 SOCOM pistol because I have one. One. It's awesome. Yeah. I've shot it one-handed. It's great.
I've shot a 450 Bushmaster with the bird's beak.
Yeah.
And it was a riot. And so I think you're looking at it wrong. And I think a lot of people are looking at it wrong because people were really hung up on the caliber thing. And they were saying they didn't give us guidance on which calibers are no good. Well, because they can't do that. Okay, think about it. There are tons of traditionally understood handguns with calibers that are way juicier than 5.56, right? That are juicier than 308 even. So the question is more like, I don't think that they actually have that thought. I think it's like in combination. Well, and what it says in the document is in combination with everything else, like in combination with you not being able to use the sight, in combination with the fact that the brace is way too long to be actually used on your forearm, and this and that, then it weighs towards rifle. That's what I think. That's what I'm imagining from this. But I don't think, if they're going to apply this in a principled way, which, who knows? Yeah. If they are, then I don't think anything short. I think everything up to and including 308 would have to be accepted because of the 500 Smith & Wesson, 454 Kazul, those are normal handguns.
Yep.
If you're going to sit and tell me that, something being 458 SOCOM means it's disqualified as a handgun, well, I'm sorry, but that is not consistent at all.
Totally 100% agree. That's what has me confused. They also talk about weight. Like if you add a high capacity, well, their words, not mine, a high capacity magazine, and it makes it too heavy to use as a pistol. I'm like, okay, well, what if a strong dude does it? What if a dude who's 6'7" does it? Right. So now you're taking into account like the physical traits of an individual, like just because you got a pencil neck that can't lift it at the firearms tech branch, that doesn't mean that like some buff dude couldn't.
So that's the other thing here. Intent does matter when it comes to a criminal violation of the federal law. There's very few federal laws that are strict liability crimes, which means that no matter what you were thinking, it doesn't, you can be held liable. You have to intend or knowingly violate the NFA. And so that's why they talk so much about intent. And another thing here that's interesting is that ATF says in this letter that it knows that virtually everybody who has put these on their guns did so in good faith belief that they are not NFA firearms.
Yes.
So that, in my opinion, as a practitioner, right, to the extent that I am one, that would look pretty good to my client, right? If it's like, hey, you didn't admit that you knew this was bad, and the ATF said they knew you were in good faith, how are they going to bag you? What it can have more of an effect on, though, is the industry.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of changing gears a little bit, same story, just a different tact. I saw Reno May on YouTube.
Take this off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a which SB is this? Is this an A4, I think, or A3?
I can't see. It looks like A3.
Yeah, it's the one that everybody likes. I had this wrapped to my wrist the whole time for you audio only people.
Yeah.
You were saying Reno?
Yeah, so Reno did where he's like they're about to outlaw braces, and SB Tactical knew about it the whole time. So I saw
what the heck
going towards SB Tactical. I saw their social media. They're like, "What the hell? We literally heard about this at the same time everyone else did."
Yeah.
That kind of freaks me out. But it takes me to this next part from the document. It says, although not a determinative factor, the actual use by members of the firearms industry, firearms writers, and the general public may provide further indication of the design and intent. So I thought, wow, I've seen shoot AR pistols. I've seen him shoot AR pistols with the brace on his cheek or the brace on his shoulder. So I'm like, I feel like we're constantly attacking people, trying to find somebody to blame for something when maybe there's not really a whole lot of blame to be passed around. And I know I've posted pictures, videos, things like that. I've also posted pictures and videos shooting them one-handed, using the brace. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on like that whole area?
I think that we as a community need to so this is actually something, I mentioned it in the Fudbusters video I've got coming out on this, but I was talking to Matthias about this, and he, from CN Arsenal, those who don't know him, we were talking about it, and, and I was expressing my frustration, and he said, the important thing here is that this is a fight. And when you're in a fight, you need to not only know what your opponent is doing, you need to know what he's not doing. So it doesn't do us any good to freak out and go to the, most extreme conclusion every time, because that means that we're not actually fighting we're not fighting the same opponent, right? If we all believe that they're doing different things, it's hard to coordinate and message in an effective manner. So I think that it's important that when something like this happens, we take a good hard look at it. And I'm not saying not doing anything. God, no, I'm not saying that. I think we should do stuff almost as soon as we possibly can. I'm saying we need to read it and get a cool, level-headed, full analysis of what it's saying. And then we have a discussion about what that could mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, look, the way I view this is that when you send a gun to ATF for them to look it over, and by the way, you don't have to. No one is required to, but you're imperiled if you think it might be subject to the NFA. So that's why companies do it, because they've invested a lot of money and they don't want to then have ATF arbitrarily say something later, which they do anyway. But what happens is you either get a response saying, okay, you're good to go, this is a handgun, or they fire back with some unconstitutional garbage. That's what's been the case. If this is them honestly showing what their criteria were, which I don't know if it was or not, but if this is them honestly showing what their criteria were, it actually kind of helps us to hold on to this. Because again, in the letter, they said there are certainly legitimate uses for pistol stabilizing braces. And they also don't say that shouldering makes it illegitimate. So as long as we, if we're going to go path A, which is accepting accepting these types of regulations, then it could just be instructive. But I want to go to path B, which is my handgun should be able to look like what it wants, and my rifle should too, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I also want to point out that a lot of people were linking to Josh Prince in the Firearms Consulting Group, as if he was indicating that this was the sky is falling, they just outlawed braces.
Right.
I went to the blog post and I've read it about 652 times, and nowhere in there do I see anything even remotely like that. It's informative.
Yep.
15-page draft copy. There's a 2-week period. Putting it in right now seems a little bit shenanigan-y.
Yeah.
Word.
Well, and the waiting, the length of the comment period is technically wrong.
Yeah, it's 90 days if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So that's a bit sketchy, and they might fix that in the final. it was very clear that this was an advanced draft because it was full of stuff like replace with 14 days, but no, and Josh, I know him. He's awesome. He's a great guy, and he gets excited about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he is this cool about it, it tells you something. I think that his article was extremely informative, very on point, and I definitely referenced it myself.
I don't understand why everyone's like flying off the handle all the time about everything. Like, I get it. This is important.
No, for sure.
We absolutely need to pay attention to. And those comments, I believe, am I correct that they open tomorrow?
I've been super jacked up today, so I haven't seen if this got filed. The last thing I knew, it hadn't. And so the comments will open after it's actually submitted and accepted, right? Okay,
that makes sense. I thought I saw somewhere that it was tomorrow, but I haven't seen that it actually got filed either.
Yeah. And that's more, administrative mumbo jumbo. It's a big mess, but
sorry. I was Friday in the document. So it is interesting. It is definitely something to pay attention to. Once the
comment.
So, comment. And I think if I recall correctly, it was like M855 and then 7NR or some.
7 and 6.
7 and 6. Thank you. That one actually there wasn't a whole lot of comments and it got banned from import, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
So we need to comment. We need to all comment. We need to blow up phones and emails and at the Federal Register, which is where you'll be able to comment here.
Yep.
Important, but
it's easy to do. And here's the thing: when you do comment, actually sit down if you can. Actually sit down, take the time to express your objections, express those things that you think maybe because look, stuff like relying on random people's activities. That is not like a legally sufficient justification to underlie a criminal charge. So, bringing up all of the different issues that you see in it. And here's the thing. They have to respond to all of our concerns. And if they don't, we get to sue them. So, that's why, like you were saying, I can't stress enough. Sit there, read it. Anything that you see in there that does not seem good to you, and trust me, there's tons of it, you need to tell them. And don't assume that somebody else will do it for you. Just do it.
Yeah, do it all. And don't forget, don't use profanity in your response because they even talk about it in the draft that anything with profanity basically gets not considered.
Right.
That they frame that.
Yep.
And just for the people out there who are wondering, like I've basically mentioned Military Arms Channel. I mentioned Reno May by name. Like I respect these guys. I like these guys. I want all of us to do a better job at having a level response to things like this. Because if we have outrage about everything, we get blind to outrage. And when we actually need to outrage about something, we're going to be sick of it because we spend it all on things that probably don't deserve outrage.
Something about a boy and a wolf.
Yeah. Something about that. I've heard that story. I don't remember it because I'm too mad about everything else. But
well, but yeah, and look, I'm not saying that these people. I'm not saying that Mac lied. I'm not saying anything like that.
No,
I'm saying people get something and it looks bad, right? Because look, something hits your desk, and it's ATF, and the first thing you see is pistol brace. What are you going to think it is?
A ban.
All right, yeah, you're going to just. And then when you read it and it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo and it's you're not going to be convinced it's not a ban. So I understand completely.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it around the same time period as everyone else saw it last night. I literally downloaded it. I sat and read it, the entire thing, word for word twice. And I still don't understand most of it. So I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm dumb as hell. But nowhere in there did I see anything that I was like, it's game over.
You know what I bet though?
What's that?
I bet that something happened to you that happened to me. You got it early, right?
Yeah.
And you started reading it.
Yeah.
And then when you finished reading it, you opened up social media.
Yeah. Oh, so I saw social media. Then I saw that that it had been sent to me. Then I downloaded and read it, and then I saw social media again, and then I stopped looking at social media because what am I missing? It makes me feel stupid, right? Because I'm like, all these people that I respect and I think are smart are like freaking out about this, and I'm not. I must be dumb.
Right. Well, and so the point I'm making is that some of the outrage came before I could finish reading the document.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. So anyone who hears our words here, just like level heads will prevail. Save the pitchforks for when we actually need to throw hay. You know what I'm saying?
There might be a time.
Yeah.
And like, do you want to hit the hay? Like you're saying, you don't want everybody to be desensitized to the hay button.
Yeah.
You want, so when it's time to hoe down.
Exactly. It's time to throw down. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. What's your next story?
All right. Well, something else that's just awful and relates to our favorite administrative agencies.
Oh boy.
The P80 warrant.
Oh geez. I've read a bunch about this since then. It's just getting crazier by the day.
Right. And I really don't want to spend so much time telling people like it's not that bad, because I'm used to telling people, no, what the feds are doing is way worse than you're imagining. But so there was an article written about this. So basically, a lot of the documents have gotten released for the for the search warrant that ATF put in to go and raid Paul Brady's headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
You might be hearing that raid is a mark of things to come for 80% far and wide. But if you take a look at the warrant applications, you notice that they're focusing on the particular kit as a firearm.
Yes.
And the real obsession is facilitating prohibited people.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think it's I think this is another thing that we need to investigate more and figure out why. One, I think it's garbage, because if you're going to define a firearm, you should stick to it. But it seems like what they're saying, and this is me extrapolating from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It seems like what they're saying is that this particular kit, something about the way that it is built or packaged or marketed or something, is different from the others. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. But that was their way in to go and see whether prohibited people had gotten them.
Yeah, and it turns out that they didn't get customer data from Polymer 80, that they got it from stamps.com and authorized.net, their shipping and their credit card processing. And then they ran it against the NICS to see if any of those people were prohibited.
Right, which is a bit more clever than I usually give them credit for.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that they were clever, but that sucks.
It does. And I think California also subpoenaed Polymer 80 and they refused the subpoena. Yeah. Which is pretty awesome.
That's like the new thing. Wait, are we talking about that later on?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Yes, we are. Okay. Yeah, no, so there's a little taste. That's like a new fad in the anti-gun groups, is just like sending random dog poop subpoenas. And it's like, God, it's like, we'll talk about it more in that story, but it's a real nasty thing to do.
I don't doubt it at all.
Yep.
So we still don't know why they think, or why they've suddenly changed and think that this kit is somehow a firearm, even though it includes the approved, or I don't know what the correct
non-firearm.
Yeah, like an approved non-firearm. But somehow adding extra parts, even though I could order those parts from someone else, and it's still not a firearm. It seems
deemed. I'd call it a deemed non-firearm, because again, ATF can't approve anything that's not a firearm.
Thank you. That's the nomenclature that I was looking for.
Yeah, and that's also me being a pedantic little bad person. But anyway,
words matter. Words matter.
Yeah, they do. You're right. You're right. Yeah, thank you. I'm right.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, anything more on that? I think we've talked about P80 so much every week that people might be wanting to hear about.
Totally. Yeah. I think that's good. We'll keep updating as is necessary, and try not to like bag on it for too long. But
yep. We'll keep you guys up to date, and always send in stuff that's fresh and new.
There you go.
So next up, and this is, wow. they usually say that all the gun controllers are, everyone except for me needs to abide by these things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like some House progressives might have decided to put up or shut up on that, because a group of politicians, they sent letters to House leadership arguing that the decades-old regulation, so basically, stepping back, in DC, almost impossible to have a gun on the federal grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Decades ago, there was a regulation that allowed lawmakers to keep their guns on them in most areas of the Capitol complex. And this was, of course, especially back in the day, people would try to kill these people.
Right. It comes from that historical kind of stuff, right? People going in with guns, trying to hurt them.
Yeah.
And defending themselves. Weird.
Exactly. Which we have some pretty cool historical figures which killed their attackers in American politics, killed or beat senseless. But looking at you, Jackson. But anyway, speaking of problematic historical figures like we were talking about the other day. But anyway, so these politicians are arguing that regulation, it compromises everyone's safety. 21 of them, they're saying rather than keeping people safe, it makes everyone unsafe because the Capitol Police aren't necessarily aware of who does and doesn't have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a bunch of lawmakers saying that other lawmakers are a huge danger because, is elitism dead?
It's so weird. It's so weird, right? They're well, we don't want our peers to have firearms, but we want people with firearms protecting us.
Right.
I don't understand. And is this?
I don't want to know their names.
Yeah, yeah. I know Lauren Boebert from Colorado, actually,
Mm-hmm.
the House, and I would totally suspect that she would be a person who wants to carry. And is that what this is really aimed at? Is some of the new crop that came in that are pro-gun, just trying to show them their place as newbies to the House?
You know what? Just from the time I spent at the Capitol,
mm-hmm.
the way they are, if you were going to ask me to just wildly speculate as to what caused this, I would say that probably, maybe not even someone junior, but some, maverick, printed once or reached up and they saw a gun and it just caused an absolute crap show. They were like, oh! And and then found out, because they probably weren't even aware, they probably found out that this was a thing and we need to do something about this.
Wow.
Yeah, or they're just trying to make the news like they always do. But if you asked me, that's what I would say happened. I'd say they saw somebody's gun and and all got together in a little cuddle puddle powwow and decided that they were going to do something about it.
The way you described that, the cuddle puddle, it just sounds so cute.
Well, don't you see how they like to get together and protest with little, they did that with their little nightgowns and stuff.
Yeah, it's so cute. I read further, Boebert, she did actually approach Capitol Police during new member orientation to learn about the firearms policies. And my guess is someone overheard that or something, or someone printed or dumb. You think it has legs?
Nah.
Okay, good.
You're going to ask people to bind themselves. I don't know. Maybe that's me giving them too much credit, but I don't think so. I think that even some of the ones that are anti-guns are going to be like, whoa, somebody might kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, if it does, I don't really care about politicians.
I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit conflicted on this. On the one hand, I'm like, shut up, let them carry guns. On the other hand, I'm like, it's really hard to get a concealed carry permit in DC, if not impossible. And you know what? Those stupid politicians should have to do exactly what the citizens have to do.
Yeah. But then also, remember today thee, tomorrow me. But of course,
yep.
I just try to be principled. Deep down inside, I desperately want to be like, take them all. Show them. Show them.
Exactly.
But
it's petty, and I am petty. I will admit,
same.
I'm of the pettiest nature that has ever been.
Oh yeah, I'm a real problem. Speaking of petty little problem children.
Oh yeah.
So this is what we were talking about before. Smith & Wesson is now suing New Jersey Attorney General Gabriel Gruel who is a absolute pile of garbage. Yeah, we all knew that Gruel is like nightmarishly anti-gun, and he lets this come through as AG, right? Clearly because he's probably planning on running for federal office one day.
Yep.
But so he subpoenaed Smith and Wesson, asking them a bunch of like nonsense questions and for a bunch of internal documents relating to how the guns are advertised, asking questions such as, do they contend that the product makes a home safer or enhances one's lifestyle?
Yes.
Whether an untrained consumer could successfully and effectively use a Smith & Wesson firearm for personal or home defense, and whether private citizens should have the right to carry a concealed firearm. It's a fishing expedition.
Yeah, I say that so much, but like some of the ads that they mentioned are, what is it? Your man card has been reinstated.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, that's like, it's not cool, but this is clearly a fishing expedition to try to catch them on some like something stupid that I can't even think of what it is. But so yeah, instead, like S&W is basically like, nah, screw you, and litigated, and they're challenging that this is just Gruel abusing his position in order to suppress a political viewpoint that he doesn't agree with.
Yeah, and we're seeing Brady in Everytown kind of do these exact same things to get around the PLCAA protections with marketing and things like that.
Yep.
But to see like an actual attorney general do it, like I completely agree with him. It's bad enough when private organizations and citizens do it. It's something else when someone does really abuse their position of authority within a state. So yeah, good for Smith and Wesson. Like awesome, and we need.
I wouldn't call him an actual attorney general. I mean, those actual attorney generals take and uphold an oath to defend the Constitution, but
the oath breaking attorney
generals. No, but this is cool. And what this is, when they hit companies with crap like this, they know most of these companies, they don't have the money to fight like Smith and Wesson does. So they're like, what do we do? You know, we either respond or not, and then openly fear what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times they'll just buckle and give them their fish and just hope and pray that they don't find something objectionable, which usually they won't. But whether or not they make something out of it is another story. This is like part of the new wave of using lawfare, like strategic litigation designed to not designed to actually achieve a certain outcome, designed exclusively to damage the opposing party.
Yeah. Just like wear them down, pick at them until they freak out. This part just really makes me mad. The subpoena treats as fraudulent any alleged position that guns enhance safety. That is so infuriating to me. Like I just can't. It is, I need to look up some synonyms for ridiculous because man,
clown shoes.
It is clown shoes. It makes me want to cuss. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, same. It's really hard for me to not do that when we have the show.
I know.
But yeah, but Shawn told me if I can do 5 episodes in a row without swearing, that he'll send me a cookie.
Yep, absolutely. So, and I think this is number 5, right?
Yay!
All
right, I got a few minutes left, guys. Wish me luck.
All right,
I really want that cookie.
Here we go. I'm gonna see how mad I can get you.
Well, we got kind of not a very angry making story. Louisiana homeowner shoots 4 armed intruders.
Dang it. This is a good story.
Well, we don't usually talk about stuff like this because it's, we try to focus on what's going on in the industry and news and stuff like that. But it is just because of the home defense narrative is something that comes up so much and is so central to the gun debate. I think it's important to talk about when situations like this do happen. So police are saying 4 armed intruders went into a home in this tight-knit Louisiana community where they say almost everyone in the community is either related or like long-term friends. The homeowner responded to the invasion with gunfire. He killed 2 of the invaders, wounded 2, and unfortunately his daughter was struck in the crossfire. She is expected to be okay. The homeowner is expected to be completely okay. And the 2 burglars that survived, and this is a really cool little trick of old English common law that I talk about all the time. the two survivors, burglars, will be charged with the murders of their friends.
Yes. I mean, that's kind of amazing, actually.
The felony murder rule, when it's not used in an insane way, makes a lot of sense, because the logic is that if you and your friends undertake together to commit an extremely dangerous felony, and one of them dies in a way that is to be expected, is part of the risks that are inherent in the felony, you are directly responsible for their murder. And I think that makes perfect sense.
It does. It really does. I'm a big fan of this. Also, like, the homeowner, kind of on point, shot all four.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I don't know.
Is it bad that the first thing I wondered was, what was it? What was the gun?
Right. Exactly. I always want to know that.
Yeah. I mean, and we shouldn't care, but you just always want it to be an AR-15 so you can be like,
see? Yeah. I totally. Homeowner's 4-year-old daughter struck by a bullet, but it's going to be okay.
Yep.
That is a good thing.
Yeah. I wonder what happened. I do. It didn't say what happened to her.
No, just that she received an operation and expected to be okay.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Thank God.
Would you say that this homeowner was, I don't know, did the gun enhance his safety?
I think it enhanced his lifestyle.
It did.
By continuing it.
Absolutely. And just in that last story about Gruber, whatever that Gruber Gruel or whatever.
Yeah.
Christina treats as fraudulent any alleged position that enhance safety, and boom, there we have it. 4 armed people doing a home invasion.
Hey, but what do you mean safety? He was in a gunfight.
Yeah.
That's not safe.
Well, it's safer than just getting slaughtered.
No. Stupid. No. No, I mean, look, and this is what I always tell people. We don't have these things okay, some of them are for sunny days, right? But the 9mm that you keep on your bedstand is not there for a fun night out, right? It's not there for enjoyment. It's there in case of the worst possible day in your life.
Yep.
And this man, unfortunately, had the worst day of his life. Like this, we joke about it because we're edgy, bad people, but this dude's life's never going to be the same again.
True.
Right? He's never going to be the same. Years of therapy probably won't fix him. I would not switch places with him. However, he is alive because when the unthinkable happened to him, he had the tools necessary to secure his own safety. So when somebody comes in and they're threatening you with unlawful force, the only thing that can save you is there's only one tool that is proven for centuries to be effective against other uses of unlawful force, and it's the blaster. Let's be honest.
I totally agree. And again, yeah, you're totally right. Like, sometimes I do get a little flip or glib or whatever it is about a criminal meeting a heinous end. But honestly, like, doing what we do, thinking about this stuff all the time, seeing all these stories of people's lives being saved, and then sometimes reading the stories about the ones who didn't have a gun,
right?
And what went wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry. When criminals get smoked for doing bad things to good people, I feel no sorrow, empathy, sympathy, or anything else for them.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like, we look at this stuff so much, you got to cope with it, and like the way I cope with it is the same way you cope with, having bad defendants as a lawyer. You just joke about it.
Right.
And so I'm not going to apologize. That's how I get through my life and stay happy. I joke about burglars getting smoked and lit up.
Yep.
Like, that's whatever,
You are totally right. Like, I do feel bad for the homeowner. That's something to talk about when I teach classes. Everything is like these people's lives is like it's crushed. The aftermath of this, cleaning up the mess, just the biological mess that's left in your home or your car, like, that'll mess with people. Yeah, there's crime cleanup services, but a lot of people don't necessarily have the money to pay for that stuff, and a lot of them end up doing it themselves, cutting out carpet.
And I don't know if, if you've ever had a physical trauma happen to one of your loved ones in your house, it doesn't matter how good you clean it up, you're always going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always going to be there. You know, that's stuff that I've experienced. You know, it's still there in my vision. You know, so this, and you know what else, man? I feel bad for the families of the burglars. I do. You know, because as far as them, it's like you got what you signed up for, dude. But you know, they were so stupid, and you know, maybe if they knew that everybody had a gun, they'd be alive, and they'd have decided to, like, I don't know, sell energy drinks on Instagram or something.
Right. Brain pills or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I don't know that I've ever considered how I feel about the families of the criminals. I mean, like, I kind of probably feel bad for them, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, you know, what led to them, maybe not a life of crime, leading a life of crime, but you know, what led to them making those bad decisions is probably generally not like a great upbringing rather.
Or just, you know, a bad environment. And, you know, there's all kinds of things that can contribute to a bad environment. But like, I mean, maybe the reason I'm so sensitive to it is because I've met, you know, over the course of my practice, I've met a lot of people who had loved ones that did bad things, and they received one of the risks. And a lot of these people, they don't know that their family members are up to no good. And, you know, and this is why we need to, like, this is why gun control is not something that I like give even a scintilla of thought to, in terms of like it being a solution to anything. We need to think about what is causing these people to feel so, you know, feel like they have such little opportunity that they would go, because look, I mean, the stupidest person knows their life is at risk when they burgle, right? I mean, they teach you that day one in criminal college. But yeah, what if you want to make a change in the world, if you want to help people's lives, why don't we look at why these people feel the need to act this way? You know, maybe it's our government driving them into, you know, into bad areas and making everything they want to do illegal, you know?
Yeah.
Or crippling their lives after they commit a minor crime so that they can do nothing else. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that we can probably make it so that, because check this out. When people are happy and they're making money, they don't generally, they'll do stupid stuff all the time, right? But they won't do stuff like this. If you have a good system, you know, and I don't mean like a good government system, I mean a good, free, open economy with lots of opportunity, people don't want to be like doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Generally, they're too tired from working all day to go crime too hard at night.
Exactly. Yeah, they have to do the light crimes, like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, if it takes more than 5 minutes, I'm out, man. I'm tired. But 7.
Yeah. Oh man.
Good stuff. I think we have one story left, or no?
Nope, that's all.
What about the PPK?
Oh, we skipped over it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's not a PPK.
Oh, the P.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about Dr. No's PP.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So
like a urban myths intended to scare children.
Yeah.
But no, don't touch me there. I know.
No, that's not. No, that's my PP. It's worth $256,000.
Wow, mine's worth $2.56.
Well, so when we think of the Bond gun,
yes,
we think of the PPK.
Yes,
but in Dr. No, they referred to his gun as a PPK. But actually, in Connery's first Bond movie, the gun M hands over and that he uses throughout the film is actually a PP, so the PPK is the shortened version of the Walther police pistol.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's what he used in that film. It was a 7.65 caliber Walther PP. And it just sold at Julian's auctions in Beverly Hills for over $250,000, $256K.
Holy moly. And it's the actual one used in the movie?
The one. Yeah, down to the like American import grips. Yeah.
That's pretty dang cool. Now, it's a real gun? It's not like demilled or anything like that because they used it in the movie, or?
Remember, this was a while ago. I don't think they like broke guns.
That's true. They actually used real ammo. That's how
Yeah.
Brendan Lee died.
Yeah, no, I was to say this was pre Brendan Lee. So
Yeah. Rest in peace, the Crow.
Yeah, that was. Oh God, that story makes me so mad.
It does. Or Brandon. I said his name wrong. But yeah, I had no idea. This is pretty cool. Also, like, it's been a really good week for gun auctions, because I think last show we talked about Teddy Roosevelt's gun selling for over $1 million.
Yep. I'd say this is a more reasonable purchase if we're going to talk about the two.
Yeah.
The PP, from that was erroneously referred to as a PPK, which just makes it a cool piece of like Walther history in addition to Bond history. Yeah, no, that's an awesome thing that probably some loser now owns. Well, like, not loser, they're probably not a loser, but
it's probably the what are the Missouri couple? The Missouri couple that were brandishing.
They were looking for a replacement for her Jimenez.
Exactly. Yeah. They probably bought it just they sent out that picture of them like brandishing their guns as a Christmas card, I read.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they just wanted new props for the next Christmas card, I think.
I mean, that's sweet. Look, I have a 7.65 PP that's in the exact same configuration. And man, that's one of the nicest shooting guns, because it's so, and most people, when they think of a PPK, they think of it in 380.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be 32 auto, 7.65. And think of that big, heavy steel gun. And then think of it, because everybody's probably shot, well, not everybody, lots of people probably shot a PPK in 380. Now imagine that a little bigger and in 32 ACP. And boy, does that thing just sit there while you shoot it. It's a treat.
I need to add that to my bucket list.
Oh, yeah. And it's an easy one to get if you just want to get something equivalent on the cheap. The FEG, the Hungarian, it's a FEG. I forgot what the model number, but they have in it as an exact copy of the PP in 7.65. You can get them for like a couple $100 now.
Dang. Yeah. Let's see. The FEG Walther PP clone. Let's see. It is, yes, same 32 ACP.
Yeah. What the model number is? The FEG something?
I don't see it, but there's lots of people talking about them, just not the actual model number. The P63.
Yep, the P63. So okay. Yeah, you have to make sure it's not you have to make sure it's one of the ones in 7.65.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they made the PA60 or the P63 in like every caliber.
Dang. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna.
Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just know that the FEG made a 7.65 one that I like saw a bunch of for nothing.
Yeah, the one that I was looking at was a 32 ACP or 7.65, whatever.
Yeah, that's just me being pedantic again.
Perfect. So if you had 256,000, like
FEG AP, that's the one you want, not the AP. That one is a kind of cooler looking frame.
Okay, the FEG AP. Mm-hmm. If you had 256K, is this something that you buy? And if you did buy it, Matt, would you shoot it?
Okay, so if I had 256K sitting there, no, I wouldn't buy this. If I had like 8 million just chilling, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. Or maybe more than that. I don't know. But if I bought this though, if I was in the position to buy this, would I shoot it? Yes.
Same.
I shoot every single gun in my collection. And part of the reason I do that is because it makes people angry. But I believe that these things want to talk. I treat it the same way I treat like classic cars, motorcycles, and stuff like that. If you don't use them, you never know what might happen. So, I wouldn't shoot the heck out of it, but I would probably take it out once a year and put a mag or two through it. Why not?
Yeah, I totally agree. I would too. I would shoot any gun. I don't care how much it costs.
Oh yeah. No. And also, I mean, have you ever seen a clapped out Walther PP series?
No.
I have seen some that have seen a lot of rounds, and those things are built to take it. I would not be worried about shooting that gun out. No way. That's
awesome. I found one on Gun Broker for 400.
A PP?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. The FEG AP.
Oh. Well, I mean, hell, with today's prices.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, I feel like that's a bargain. I'd pay 400 for a high point right now. Gee.
Oh man.
All right. Well, that does it for the stories today, man. What else you got?
That's all I've got for today. Again, I mentioned it like 3 times, but there's a new Fudbuster video. Check it out. Also, stay tuned because we're working on transitioning that over to Firearms Radio Network as well.
Yes, sir. It's going to be awesome. So you'll be able to bust your fuds, listen to This Week in Guns, and have fun with everyone else, all at firearmsradio.tv. Matt, remind them where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on your favorite flavor of Big Tech Spy Zone at Matt LA at Law, MATTLA at Law. It's Matt Law at Law. And yeah, happy to engage with you guys. Any ideas you have, any comments, suggestions, or whatever, love to hear it.
Absolutely. Sending messages, guys. I know you guys are all sending me messages that you love having This Week in Guns back and you're really enjoying it. So yeah, definitely let us know. Let Matt know that he's doing a great job. And if there's nothing else, we will see you next time.
Y'all have a good night.